Hi, welcome back to another monthly market update for the Columbus, Ohio real estate market. I'm Ryan Dieter with Key Realty, and today we're going to do a deep dive into the month of October of 2022, looking at the numbers that the Columbus Board of Realtors puts out for us. Every month they put out the statistics and the sales and all that fun stuff that they track, and we're just going to dive into that. So if you watch my other videos in the past, you've kind of seen a trend these last few months, and we're going to see some more of that same trend where if you're comparing the month over month to last year, so if you're comparing this month to last October, the numbers look very drastically different. And if you actually compare it to the 2019 pre-pandemic numbers, they're actually somewhat similar. Actually, they're actually very similar, and they're actually in some ways more competitive of a buyer's market right now, because I'm sure the narrative that you're hearing in the news and around just conversation maybe is that the market has just tanked or anything like that. Not the case here in Columbus. So without further ado, let's just jump into it and take a look. As we can see here are the October numbers pulled up from the MLS. Again, this is produced by the Columbus Board of Realtors, and it's for the whole Columbus region, not just Franklin County or the surrounding counties, but the whole region. So it's a little skewed from that, but this gives us a big picture of what's going on in the neighborhood. And the thing that I want to focus on again the last few months, really we're seeing, and this is what the headlines are really focused on, is the decline in sales. Sales are definitely down. You can see here it's down almost 25%, which is a significant amount. And then, in contracts are also down, negative 26, which again is going to impact the sales next month. So that's kind of our always, what's in contract typically takes about 30 days to close. So that's a good picture of what's going to happen next month. It's actually up compared to last month. If you look at it there, we have more in contracts than last month, but not all those will close potentially as well. So, but here's the thing to keep in mind is that the average price point is still up almost 10%. Just like last month, we're still seeing year over year growth in the housing market, and prices are continuing to go up at 10%. So until we really see negative or decline in prices year over year, that's when I would say we're still on track to have a positive outcome, I guess, to say that the housing market is not going backwards by any means. Now it starts to go down. That's something to consider, but the modest growth is, the average I think is 3 to 5% year over year. So we're still well above that average of year over year median, and then average price per square foot, same, right on track as well. Here are things to consider though as buyers. If you're looking to buy, things to consider is that the original list price to what the offer price received is down. It's down, 2.5%, which is nice. That means that on average, the houses that are being listed are not selling for at list price or above. We're now starting to see the average be below list price. And so that's a positive thing for your buyers to say, okay, there's some negotiation happening. Just because of what you see doesn't mean it's what you have to pay. In the last 6 months, it was you had to pay well over what you saw. Now you don't have to do that. And the things that's on top of that, we're also seeing other negotiations happen. We're seeing inspections, a remedy request happen after inspections. When people find things wrong with the house, they're actually getting things fixed by the sellers and not have to take that cost on as a buyer. So those are things that are actually happening. We're actually seeing closing costs be given to buyers now for their either to buy down the interest rate or just to use for their closing costs to have more cash on hand to do some projects they may want. Another thing we're seeing is days on market are creeping up again, up 40%, so 15 to 21. Again, that's still not a long time to be on the market on average. If you look at the history of the market, 6 months is kind of the balance we consider quote unquote a balanced market, if there is one. It's a 6-month time frame. And then the new listings are also down. So that's obviously going to impact, the amount of listings there are. But the thing I want to focus on is also inventory. Your inventory of homes has jumped up, so almost 40% as a whole. And that's the month supply of inventory, since we had some carryover from last month. It's now it's creeping up from to 1.4. Last month it was at 1.3. So we're seeing it slowly creep up here. That's still, it's a good sign actually for buyers. For sellers, not as much. It means more competition. At the same time, this is still a very low amount of inventory. 1.4 months is, again, still a very much a seller's market. And again, going back to the balanced market, 6 months of inventory is that, balanced market. That's why I say, when I said it takes, an average 6 months to sell, that's what's considered quote unquote a balanced market. So on average, a month's supply of inventory to be neither a seller's nor neither a buyer's market would be around 6 months. We're still seeing that well below 2 months for the month of October. Now, if we look at last year, you can see it was at 1 month, which is really unhealthy for buyers. And as many people know, that's what really caused the spring chaos, is that there's so few houses on the market, and then all of a sudden you have a flood of buyers with low interest rates. That's what happens, and people are now dropping inspections, paying well over asking price, and doing all they can just to get in the house. And so there's a lot going on there, and so that's what causes that. Now we're getting back to a little bit more inventory, but not a ton, not a huge supply of inventory. And this is where I think prices are going to continue to stay up, because inventory has not skyrocketed quite yet. In 2008, what we saw is inventory just skyrocket with foreclosures, and also people losing jobs and no longer qualified to be a buyer. What's happening now are buyers are choosing to sit out because interest rates are higher, the monthly payment's higher than what they really want to pay. And now some buyers, unfortunately, are being forced to sit out because they no longer qualify. But a lot of buyers are actually choosing because they have a bad taste in their mouth, because they were quoted at $500 a month less. Then all of a sudden now it's going to cost for that same house maybe $500,000, $600,000, $700 more for that same house. And so a lot of buyers are choosing to sit out. But once that interest rate drops again, all of a sudden those buyers are going to jump right back in, because that monthly payment actually may be less if the prices happen to go down from maybe 6 months ago, where we're seeing monthly price drops. So if that monthly price drop continues, all of a sudden the interest rate drops a little bit. Those buyers will now enter the market again once they do that, or once they figure out how to navigate the market with other loan products. So just to keep this in context, I want to show 2019 inventory. 2019, we were actually at 1.9 inventory. We had a lot more homes, not a lot, but a good amount more homes for sale. We did see, closed sales this time of year go down, but not by much compared to year over year. And contracts were up. But this is where, I kind of want to see, keep in perspective, days on market were still higher. We had more houses to buy. The average price point was still, higher. So in a lot of ways, the original price, you get the original price list or price ratio was lower in 2019. So in a lot of ways, 2022 is still more competitive than 2019. It's still more of a buyer's market, a seller's market today than it was in 19. If you want to look at those metrics, how competitive are things in that market? What's the supply? What's the inventory? Things like that, and the demand really creates those numbers for us. So hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this is keeps some perspective for you when you're thinking about buying or really selling your house. And what we're seeing is good homes are still selling for a good amount of money. Probably not as much as you would have gotten in the spring, but that's typical. Again, let me show you. I always like to put things in perspective with this graph here. You can see every year there's ebbs and flows. We're in one of those down month cycle here, where typically things peak in the spring and they start creeping back down in the fall, back up in the spring. They usually level out in June, like it did this year as well. So again, hopefully this is helpful. If you have any questions about your individual situation, I would be happy to help go over that with you. But if you have any other questions in regards to this, please let me know. Be happy to have an individual conversation and how this affects you. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm Ryan Dieter with Key Realty. If you found this video useful, please go and like it and even subscribe to this page. That way you get the up-to-date monthly updates whenever they come out. And in fact, the next month is December going into January, so we will be doing a yearly update, kind of a year-end review, but also talking about my predictions for 2023, what I think is going to happen in the Columbus real estate market. So if you think that'd be useful, go subscribe and share this page with other people that you think might find it useful. Thank you.